The Malaysian Airlines is the flag carrier of Malaysia and recognized as one of Southeast Asia's best. They operate a huge fleet size composed of Airbus A330s and 350s, along with Boeing 737-800s and an upcoming 737 MAX. Malaysia Airlines continues to report billions of ringgit in revenue and was awarded by some of the biggest aviation publication magazines. Yet most people don't even know about its history. A history that rose along with the Malaysian economy, and a history fraught with challenges upon challenges. The story of Malaysian Airlines is deeply intertwined with the Malaysian nation. Established in 1937 as Malaysian Airways, it began as a collaboration between the Ocean Steamship Company of Liverpool, the Straits Steamship Company of Singapore, and Imperial Airways of London, initially operating domestic flights within Malaya. Post-World War II, the airline resumed operations and rapidly expanded its fleet and destinations. By the 1960s, as the winds of change blew across Southeast Asia with Malaysia's formation, the airline too underwent transformations. It saw a series of rebrandings from Malayan Airways to Malaysian Airways, and after Singapore's separation from Malaysia in 1964 to Malaysia-Singapore Airlines. However, 1972 marked a significant turning point. MSA split into two entities, Singapore Airlines and Malaysian Airlines System, which we recognize today as Malaysia Airlines. With the iconic Wal-Bulan, a traditional Malaysian kite, as its emblem, the airline embarked on a mission to represent Malaysia's spirit and culture to the world. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Malaysia Airlines experienced significant growth. It established itself as a leading international carrier known for its hospitality, service quality, and expanding network. The airline connected Malaysia to major global hubs, becoming the nation's flying ambassador. However, in the late 1990s, the Asian financial crisis hit. This became one of Malaysia Airlines' largest challenges yet. Financial losses mounted, which led the airline to undertake a transformation program. The crisis, which led many corporations to go bankrupt across Asia, was not the sole challenge of Malaysian Airlines. Throughout the first few years of 2000, Malaysia Airlines lagged behind its peers. It continued to post losses due to poor management, fuel costs, and even normal operating costs. Some routes were axed, many of which were unprofitable. Due to these issues, the Malaysian government had no choice but to appoint a new CEO, Idris Jalla, a Malaysian technocrat who would, a few years later, overturn the entire Malaysian airline debacle. He changed operations and the corporate culture, presented a turnaround plan, and eventually helped the airline turn a profit by 2007. The achievement was recognized after being awarded the Phoenix Award by Penton Media's Air Transport World for the Best Airline Turnaround Story in 2007. CEO Idris Jalla, after just a few years in office, had to step down because he was appointed to the Malaysian government. This led to a new CEO to step in, Tengku Azmil Zaruddin. Tengku, as soon as he was appointed, saw the purchase of new aircraft, the Boeing 737s, Airbus A330s, and A380s. These planes were introduced to expand Malaysian Airlines routes, expanding across Asia and elsewhere. Unfortunately, by 2011, Malaysian Airlines would once again register a fat loss. The company stated that they recorded a net loss of over 2.5 billion Malaysian ringgit, or 841 million US dollars. Its share price was dropping, and the company's chairman stated that the company was in crisis. What led to these big losses was blamed towards volatile fuel prices and uncertain global economic conditions. The management had then no other choice but to enact restructuring plans, staff redeployment, increasing productivity and efficiency, and cost controls. This means it had to suspend some unprofitable routes once again. These issues were not limited to 2011. Throughout the next few years, Malaysia Airlines would continue to lag behind its peers. The restructuring that had been undergone did not lift the company up. In fact, shareholders were wondering at this time why the plans had failed. In 2013, the company's loss reached $374 million. The airline further faced a severe crisis in 2014 after the mysterious disappearance of flight MH370 and a shooting down of MH17, which led to a tarnished reputation and further financial losses. By mid-2015, the chief executive of the airline stated that Malaysia was technically bankrupt, followed by another restructuring program and plans to cut over 6,000 jobs, shrinking its workforce from 20,000 to 14,000. But unlike previous rescue plans, this became fruitful. In the same year, Christoph Muller was appointed as the new CEO of Malaysia Airlines. Under Muller, the management had initiated a rebranding for the company. It overhauled its name, logos, and liveries for the aircraft. It initiated several acquisitions of new Airbuses such as the A350-900. However, Muller, just about a year in office, had unfortunately resigned. This led Peter Belo to take his position in 2016. Belo, however, just like Muller, had also stayed for a brief moment. Such inconsistent management may outline the failure to pick the right people in charge. Many analysts, journalists, and the average Malaysian stated that the failure can be stemmed from Malaysia Airlines' parent, the Khazanah Nasional Berhad, Malaysia's sovereign wealth fund. It was in 2014, after all, and the sovereign wealth fund delisted the Malaysian Airlines from the stock exchange and took it over, stating their purpose to make its national airline become profitable as a commercial entity. Yet between 2015 and 2017, Malaysia Airlines posted a total loss of 2.35 billion Malaysian ringgit. And as Malaysia Airlines thought its challenges were finally being fixed, 2020 rolled in. The COVID-19 pandemic hit, a crisis of an unparalleled magnitude. It ground global travel to a near halt, and Malaysia Airlines, like others, were forced to take a massive hit. Countries across the world closed their borders, governments imposed strict travel restrictions, and Malaysia Airlines saw its passenger numbers nosedive. Key routes were suspended, and the usually busy Kuala Lumpur International Airport looked deserted. This led many observers to anticipate whether Malaysian Airlines would finally declare bankruptcy. Thankfully, it had undergone a proper restructuring. The debt restructuring helped Malaysia Airlines avoid financial collapse after it talked with around 40 creditors for its 16 billion Malaysian ringgit or $4 billion of debt. Additionally, its parent company, Khazanah Nasional, injected money into the company worth $890 million. By 2022, Malaysia Aviation Group, the parent of Malaysia Airlines, was awarded the Restructuring Deal of the Year in 2022. It highlighted the company's ability to eliminate and reduce its debt at a time when many airlines all around the world were either declaring bankruptcy or insolvency. By April 2022, on the back of a successful restructuring, the aviation group reported that it achieved a possible EBITDA of about 433 million Malaysian ringgit or $100 million, up from its loss of 1.7 billion ringgit a year ago. And now, as of the latest data published in April of 2023, the aviation group reported an operating profit of 556 million Malaysian ringgit, or $125 million. But despite having a huge backer, the Malaysian government, basically through the Khazanah Nasional Berhad, Malaysia Airlines still continues to lag behind. The airline still has a lot of work to do to actually become a world-class performer, much less when it's domestic market. AirAsia, its local competitor, is reported to have a huge 54.1% market share as of the first quarter of 2022. To put it simply, AirAsia is way ahead against Malaysian Airlines. But that is also because AirAsia is a low-cost operator. However, that should not be an excuse. Despite AirAsia being low-cost, they are thriving. Although the company had also struggled due to the recent COVID-19 pandemic, they continue to receive awards after awards, and even recently, leased aircraft will also tell whether Malaysia Airlines rises again and becomes a leading airline across Asia. But anyway, do let us know what you think. Thanks for watching.